Welcome back to the Builders Coach Show. I'm Jess, I'm your host. I'm with Kurt today. Hey Kurt, how are you?
I'm very good, thanks Jess. Yourself?
Yes, I'm great. I'm really happy and looking forward to this episode because it's something that's really close to my heart. And that is women in leadership, and also how important it is to have more women in leadership in the construction industry.
Absolutely. It's women in construction. Like I've been really looking forward to this conversation. We've got lots to unpack.
Yes.
So let's jump in.
Where do we start?
I think let's start broad, right? I saw some stats with chatting this morning off air.
Yeah.
There's been a 94% increase in women leadership in construction in the last 10 years.
Nice.
Which is massive, okay? And we've seen numbers, all across, the Western world of more and more women coming through. And it's an exponential curve, right? So more and more of them are coming in. So that's one thing. But here's another interesting fact, right? There's a study done by McKinsey. Mm-hmm. They're like a data-driven consultancy firm, one of the most reputable on the planet. And they found that construction companies with 30% female leadership have an increase in profitability of 34%.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm not surprised.
That struck a chord with me because that's exactly what I'm seeing. And we'll go through some examples.
Yeah.
But essentially, what it means is, and they put a number to it, there's a $20 billion upside. All right. So guys that, or companies that bring in guys, talking about guys, it's a male dominated industry, right? But the construction companies that bring women in, there's a profitability kick that they experience, and they're literally picking up money that other builders are just walking past to the tune of $20 billion. It's massive.
Yeah, it's massive. I'm happy you did your research on the numbers because that's really a powerful way of looking at it.
Well, thank you very much.
But let's unpack it because I think it's really important. So obviously this concerns everyone. Like if anything, we're here cheering on saying, hey guys, you need to involve women in your business, right? That's basically what we want to say. And
it's a no-brainer.
Exactly.
I'll explain. I've got some examples, but sorry, you carry on.
No, so what I want to say, I want to unpack it because saying it, people will be like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. So the question is, where does it come from? Okay, so I want to go back a little bit.
So why?
Yeah,
what is it
why
that women do specifically that impacts profitability? Yeah, that's a good question.
So I want to unpack it a little bit. And before that, just like leadership and leadership style has really evolved over the years, right? So if you think of like the 80s or the 90s, leadership was very much about authority, someone, putting in rules. People have to be compliant. You have to respect the rules, do your work. It was quite rigid, okay? And that worked. Like
you didn't have to watch your bedside manner as much as we do. Like people are softened up, right? Like you've got to be very aware of and attuned to people's emotions. Would that be fair to say? More so than the 80s and 90s where people just like straight line leadership, not too concerned about hurting people's feelings.
Yeah, sure. But it was about
like
rules. It was like, hey, you need to work. And think of factories and things like you have to work 9 to 5. You're doing this. This is your role. You're putting things together, etc. It was very clear. The rules were clear. If you had to comply.
Here's your job description. Here's your KPIs. Here's your incentives. Get to work.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So that was the type, and it was really authority, and that's it. Very hierarchy driven, right?
Well, the companies, and particularly corporate companies, are based on a military structure. The hierarchies.
Yeah,
it's based. You heard about that, right?
Yeah, yes.
So would you say that what you described there, the fact that the way things are run in the 80s, 90s, and you go further back, so like the 60s and the 50s, do you think that would be, I mean, obviously the world's changed for the better, I'd say, but would you say it's because it was predominantly a male-driven world back
so that
then?
model...
So that's sort of a male approach to things, right? It's like,
so
just
that
get
model
shit done.
is very good for male and for men in general because men exert more authority as such. They've got like this idea of like, oh, I'm the boss, etc. So it's a model that worked really well for men, right? And I think if you look at a woman trying to come into this type of leadership is hard. It's like nearly like the woman had to act like a man to try to work in that type of leadership. But what they realize, and I think this is what's important here, is that so leadership has changed, okay? They did more and more studies it started early on, but 70s, 80s, 90s, eventually came out that employee satisfaction actually had a massive impact on productivity. and therefore on profits. Okay, so they realize that when employees are satisfied, are happy in their jobs, they have less days off, less sick days, they are more productive, they take more initiatives, they start doing more things that are more productive for the business in general, and they stay longer, they're more invested, etc., etc. So employees are happy, are satisfied, and therefore the profit goes up, right? So they started thinking, so that's why leadership changed, because they said, oh, actually, in this like authoritarian kind of like way of working, people are not really happy. They're not being like empowered, right? So leadership started to change because they were like, wait, what can we do to make our employees happy so they make us more money?
It's a no-brainer though. Like if you happy to go to work, if it's an enjoyable, even fun work environment, you're gonna perform at a higher level. And that ties into peak performance. You look at the best sports people, they really love and enjoy what they do. They love it, they're passionate about it. But are you saying to me that women are conducive to a happier work environment? So women make teams happier. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
You're making a stretch. But what I do want to say is that because of that, in order for your employees to be more satisfied, okay, leadership had to change. Leadership changed and it became empowering, okay? Empowering people, empowering your teams, having better communication, okay? Dealing with conflict differently, allowing people to innovate, more space, etc., etc. Okay, and those things, if you think about it, are more characteristics that are more dominant with women. Okay, women are better at communication. Okay, women are better at rallying teams, getting teams together and motivating them, and then women are also better at I'm going to say nurture, but really empower people. Okay, How would you solve this problem? What do you want? You see the way it's changed.
Well, women are more nurturing, right?
Yes, nurturing.
Wouldn't you say? Just
also,
naturally, what would you say it is that makes women better communicators than men?
I think it's an empathy.
In general, because we're generalizing. Obviously, there's outliers.
Yeah, we're generalizing. But I mean, it's still a better way to understand things. But I think it's the empathy side of things, okay? So when you look at an old style, like, hey, this is your job, you need to do it, that's what I want you to do, that's it, that there's no empathy there. There's just like, hey, just do what you've been told to do. But with the new way of working, it's like, okay, well, you tell me, how can I make this situation better so that you are empowered, so that you are happy, so that you are more productive, basically.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does. And if you go back to corporate and military structures, that hierarchy, it's very conducive to psychopaths doing well. Have you seen the studies on that? I don't know what the exact numbers are, but psychopaths are rare. They do exist, but they're rare in society. But the number of psychopaths that run major corporate companies, the proportion relative it's huge. Yeah. I think it's like 7 or 8%, but then there's less than 1% in the community. Yeah. So it's like the numbers are up, and I think it's because of the structure. It's being able to compartmentalize. Like in the military, if you look at special forces, right? They compartmentalize. We were watching a show. When was it? Last night, where it was a policeman, and then his partner got shot right next to him, and he just kept going, chasing the bad guy. He didn't stop and go. Like you would imagine a woman, if her friend just got shot, and it's a colleague that she knows and works with, she may stop and go, oh my God, are you okay? That you'd imagine a woman would respond that way. But he did not even look at the guy. He just kept going, like with gun drawn and bang down a dark tunnel. On a mission, yeah. So in the military, like with the special forces, they get trained to do that. They have to. For the survival of the team and themselves as an individual. They put it in a box and then they process it later. If they don't, they get PTSD. But
if you think of the leadership style, it's all about its numbers and profit, right? And so what I'm trying to say is that we've moved away from that. And
moved away from profit?
No, we've moved away from just people are just numbers in your company giving you money,
you said empathy. So you think women are more empathetic than men?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
They are. Yeah. I'm sorry. As a general aspect, it's a combination of things, right? I spoke about communication, empathy, rallying teams is a major thing,
Yeah.
okay, and empowering people, okay. And then the last thing I also want to say, and it came out from a study also, is women are more likely to build trust.
Yes.
Okay, and that's probably also because of the empathy, because of the communication, because of the caring,
and the emotional intelligence, because they can get a read. They tend to, and this goes back, like it's naive to ignore 3 million years of evolution, right? If you think hunter-gatherer, woman, like as the fairer race, sex, not race, they had to be more aware, right? So they had to align obviously with strong men to protect them, but they were very aware of their surroundings. For protecting the kids, the babies, as well as like gathering food and whatever it is. That's why I believe females have better peripheral vision than men, and we are more sort of, we can focus in. But bringing the two together, and I want to talk about some examples because that's what I'm seeing. And we can talk about stats, and everything you're saying is spot on. It does come down to communication, empathy, and emotional intelligence. And then it makes perfect sense. If you have the ability to communicate well, you will, in turn, have the ability to bring out the best of people and build happier teams.
Yeah. And so the last point was the trust part. So leading with trust, again, it creates a better environment. And all of this is that what they've realized, okay, is that productivity just goes up the roof. Profit goes also up.
Absolutely. You eliminate inefficiencies. I mean, success in business is about process and people. Okay, and make no mistake, what we do with Builders Coach is help builders make more money.
Yeah.
It's optimizing profit, cash flow, workflow. So, if the stats show that 30% female leadership means a 34% increase on average, that's on average. We see much more in bottom line profit, then why would you not do that? And so, what I'm seeing is there's office admin ladies. I'm talking about wives coming in, partners, girlfriends, not only in the business, but helping with the back end and strategic thinking, leadership, team building, marketing, administration, finance as well.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah, there's a whole area, like there's so many different areas that we see women coming in and really lifting up the business, right? And I think it's really important. And look, if there is one takeaway from today's pod also, is that I want women to realize that they have a place in the industry and they have a place in the business. And that's why I'm like quite passionate about explaining why women do drive higher productivity and higher profits. Because I do think that the challenge is that a lot of women out there are doing the job behind the scenes and they have a bit of a imposter syndrome, or they think, I'm just a person who's doing
take a back seat.
I'm just the person who's doing the admin. And I'm like, no, actually what you're doing is extremely valuable, and like I want to see more women, step into the CEO role and stepping into this leadership and owning it. Yes, I am part of this business, and I'm, driving profit too.
Totally agree. For the record, I've been pro getting more women into construction for a decade. 10 years ago. I mean, I've got 4 girls, 4 daughters.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I feel like I've been exposed to a lot of estrogen. Right, to a lot of women, but I've seen the benefits like with clients. So my message, I love your message to telling women, hey, step up. You can, get involved, and like it's important to understand that like business is not easy, right? We're not here to say, hey, it's easy to get into the 7-figure club, net $1 million, take control of your business. But the number one bit of feedback we get from our clients, and our most successful clients are often husband and wife teams, for all the reasons you just explained, is that their motivation goes through the roof. Because once you take control of the business, you start making money, you get traction, you're building a good team, you've got clarity on your particular niche or area of specialty, you've got happy clients, and it's working. There's few outside of having kids, it's one of the most exciting things you can do. Yeah. So there's a lot of women that are, the husband's a builder, and this is what I see, and then she's working. And she's got a job, she's making, a half decent salary or wage. And then that's almost like a insurance policy or security sort of blanket. Well, and then he's trying to get the business running. Whereas, and I've helped coach guys through this, where she resigns from her job and steps into the business and brings her skill set and communications, everything that you just described, and the business just takes off. And if they've got a solid plan, like you've got to obviously time it and make sure that you can replace the salary or the wage that she's bringing in. But once you do that well, it's game on.
Yeah. And maybe my second takeaway, and I know we're going to talk about some examples and things which I really want to get into, but my second takeaway for women out there, and to be honest, it applies to men too, is work to your strengths. So women don't need to lead like men. No, they need to step into what strengths do you have. If you're really good at communication, go ahead, like work with that.
Exactly. Yeah. Don't try to become like a man.
Exactly.
Be a confident woman and step in and bring what you can, what you can offer.
What you're really good at. And we've seen like project management, for example. And it's funny because you were talking to me about project management, but even when I'm looking back to my corporate world, I've done a lot of project management for different industry, but a lot of project managers I work with, or the best project managers that I've worked with or side by side with, were also women.
But it makes perfect sense because project management requires communication. So we touched on that, but also the ability to organize. Yeah. And then there's that cliche of women can multitask, right? But I think it's because women have guys are more, get shit done, focus on one thing. And then women can do
big picture,
lots of moving parts, bringing it together. But on the emotional intelligence front, and that sits within communication, right? The ability to communicate. Yeah. I did a bit of research before this pod.
Tell me.
And there's a great example of so what's an example of a woman using emotional intelligence in a communication scenario to benefit the team? And there was a female construction manager on site. And there were two guys that, hot-headed, both guys, chip on the shoulder, squaring up, and things were getting really tense. When guys are going to punch on. It's like, and she looked at one of the guys and she said, "What would you like your daughter to see you do next?" Bang.
It's tough.
Complete de-escalation. Yeah. That's emotional intelligence there. That's a great example. If I've wanted to punch people before. If someone said that, if my daughter was there, one of my daughters was there, no chance. You don't do it. Just a small example, but project management and effective proactive communication, right? You talk about niching and layering your niche, like doing heritage homes or Hampton-style homes with green technology and smart technology, and you sail out into a blue ocean. And that lends itself to profitability, right? Marketing is profitability or equals profitability. But what a lot of builders don't realize is that communication and the client experience is another form of layering, right? Because the communication is terrible out there. And when you bring in that, a female with the ability to communicate with finesse and proactively, because a lot of women...
And look after your clients.
Yeah, like a great bedside manner that can communicate well, make someone feel comfortable, but at the same time, drive things forward, get shit done as well. Some women are absolute ball breakers.
And I think we spoke about this on a pod, but a long time ago. The customer journey is so important, right? Because at the end of the day, talk about another factor which is really important in your business.
It's game changer.
It's customer satisfaction. We're talking about employee satisfaction, but customer satisfaction is...
I'd say, like, if you're working with me, you don't want satisfied customers because satisfaction is like
it's
average.
Not enough.
It's average. It's like, guys, you want them to be...
Raving fans.
Exceed expectations, right? And like, it's not that difficult to do that in this industry. So anyone listening, if you're proactive, if you're thinking, hey, I want to take control of my business, I want to start working on business and leadership development, because those two things go hand in hand, being able to communicate effectively and put some processes in place for that, and then overlay it with women who do it really well and bring that finesse and emotional intelligence and empathy is a complete game changer. Yeah. Right. It's, I've spoken about that example of the business I worked with that had the female project managers, and they could not cope. They had to farm out the overflow of referrals to 5 other companies, because most people's experience of going through a renovation, building a new home is excruciatingly painful at best. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about other examples that we have of, playing to your strength in terms of women. So I think you were telling me only a couple of days ago you just started with a couple.
Yes. So I started with a couple on Monday, and husband and wife team. The guys are real, builder. So shout out to Sam and Jess. No, Jess as well.
Okay.
And I get a good read on people, right? I've been doing this for a couple of decades now, and I could just tell, like, Jess came on the call. We just started Monday, right? And she was like, I could see the sparkle in her eye. You know what I mean? She was enthusiastic, and she was engaged. She was listening and motivated and driven. Like a lot of the clients that come to us, it's a timing thing. Like get to a point where they go, okay, we're gonna, this is it. We're drawing a line in the sand. Things are going to change. We're ready to make changes. Change is uncomfortable. We're ready to do it, and we're going to get this thing firing.
Yeah.
And I could see it. She was just so enthusiastic, and then absorbing everything. At the end of the call, she was more excited because now they had a game plan. I'd shared a whole lot of tools with them. The next day, she was sending me site mesh banners, photographs of things that she had already done, made up, ready to go. Just wanted my feedback before they go to print. Yeah. And then her husband as well. But the combination of her insights, and I could see that she had, different, besides the communication, there's a different skill set that she was bringing to the business to her husband.
Yeah.
Like in a nutshell, her husband's more like he's going to run the sites, manage the guys, get the jobs done and delivered on time within budget to standard. And she's going to handle the back end, the marketing, the administration, the finance. But the combination of those two things, marrying those two together, it's the perfect elixir for success.
Yeah. Which is often what we see with couples, right? They've got like complementary skill sets, and that's why it works so well.
But it can go wrong as well. Like where it goes wrong is when a guy brings his wife in, and I've seen this happen, and he's like, okay, the numbers are a mess, so you need to do the bookkeeping. But she freaking hates bookkeeping. Hates it. Yeah. Absolutely. And she's doing it.
That's unfair though.
Begrudgingly. And she's like, no, because she loves her husband. So no, I'll do it. But she does it. But it was bad. And then it ends in tears and drama. Ideally, bring in if it's not your wife or partner, it's horses for courses, right? You want to align skill sets and natural ability, unique abilities with different roles and tasks. And that's when it becomes fun and enjoyable. So play to your strengths and then, employ your weaknesses. So it's about understanding what are you good at, what are you going to do best, create roles and tasks for that, and then outsource the rest or employ to other people. But it can work so well. Because some people think, wow, imagine working with your partner, with your wife every day. And then you imagine your business and then personally afterwards, isn't it just going to be all encompassing and actually erode the relationship? But done properly and well, it's powerful.
Yeah, I think if both of them find like what they're really passionate about and are happy in the role that they have, then then it works.
Exactly.
I've got some stats here. 38% of successful builders surveyed had wives who left corporate jobs to join their business, bringing the missing skills and boosting the relationship. So 38% of success builders were bringing their wives.
Yeah, I see it all the time. So our most successful clients, a high percentage of our, not all of them, but a high percentage of our most successful clients are husband and wife teams. All right. So look, I've had guys come to me, the wife wants to get involved, but she's employed somewhere else. She could be a school teacher. She could be working for a corporate company. And generally, 80% of people don't enjoy their jobs. And it's their dream for her to work in the business, but they're scared because now there's only one source of income and the business normally has cash flow challenges and what if it doesn't work? So they come to us going, hey, can you help with this? And absolutely, we help with that transition. Yeah. And again, we use forecasting, cash flow forecasting, revenue projection forecasting. And you want to make sure you've got the money there, you've got a game plan, you've got sales and marketing, consistent quality leads coming in, those being converted, and then you hit the go button and that transition over. But so that's one way it happens. It's also born out of necessity sometimes. So a recent example, couple that I'm working with, the guy was not sharing the financial challenges with his wife, which I know guys do that because, and sometimes it's the woman that shoulders the financial strain and stress, and nothing messes with your head like, cash flow problems or, no money in the bank account. So this guy was experiencing that, and then didn't want to communicate it. He was just like, scared to talk about it. But she found out eventually. And I got an email saying the title of the email was Emergency Meeting. Yeah. So it was like a Tuesday. I had a meeting with them on Thursday. She was like, we need to talk tomorrow. I know we've got an appointment on Thursday. I want to talk tomorrow. It's like, okay. Anyway, it all came out. There was there was debt. Yeah. There were issues. She was completely unaware, right?
That's hard.
And so we had the difficult conversation. To the husband's credit, he manned up. Like he owned up to it. He said, look, I've pretty much lied through our mission. I shouldn't have done it. This is where it's at. And it was, pretty bad. There was like this debt, credit card debt, this thing. And there was no financial clarity in terms of cost tracking, margins on jobs, understanding the financials, cost codes, just a chart of accounts. It was all just a big mess because she had questions now. What's going on? How much money do we have? What's the debt? Yeah. What is outstanding? Anyway, long story short, the truth will set you free. Yeah. I always say that. That's a great thing, like having a coach. One guy said to me, hey, you're like that business partner I always wanted, but you cost so much less, bless you. You're not costing me nearly as much. I'm not having to pay. I don't have to share my business with a partner, but I've always wanted a business partner and you the guy. And then we emotionally detached. So I'm looking at the situation, but I'm not involved. Like I'm just looking from the outside in. I'm like, hey, the truth will set you free. We need to know, like, what is the situation with your finances? What do you need to do to get out of it? And step one with that is that you need to commit to doing it. You need to say, okay, this is where we're at. Here's what we need to do. And we're both going to fully commit, like 100% to fixing the situation. And they did that. And I cannot tell you, like, the change that came in. So when this woman stepped in, because she was like, okay, not on my watch. Yeah. Like, this is going to impact our family, our future, our home. And she just went straight in, consolidated debt, paid certain debt off that they could, got crystal clear on what it is they owed, got a full 12-week business development plan in place, marketing plan, individual job reports, set margins. He also stepped up, had his default diary, so focused on the 20% of activities that he could do, like going to see prospective clients, sales process set up, qualifying people, networking. Like within 2 weeks, they'd done a 180. Yeah. So from the hazy future, no clarity, uncertainty, not really looking at the mess, to just cleaning up, quick, smart. So it was phenomenal. But that was awesome her example. Coming in because, not dire straits, but like there was urgency.
Yeah. No, that's awesome example. I wanted to say something to you. Well, see what you think. I read somewhere that, and I'm not sure if I'm completely on board with this, but women are emotionally more resilient when it comes to financial issues.
Yes.
I read that. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that came up in my research as well. Yeah. Because I asked Grok and GenSpark, some AI platforms, what is it specifically that they bring? And financial resilience. And you know what? That makes perfect sense. Having 4 daughters and then, 2 stepsons and seeing them grow up and seeing guys, the way guys operate, it's very one-dimensional. Like they very quickly, you put 10 guys in a room, they find out who's the top dog, who's the guy that we're going to, okay. And they get sorted out very quickly. Women function differently, right? You guys rally together. The social dynamics are extremely complex. And I've seen it with my daughters, right, as they go through, primary school, high school. They can be brutal, absolutely brutal, but that builds resilience. So it's actually, I'd use the word cruel. Girls can be really cruel. You mean and it's girls, like there's this what's the right term? They get into these cat fights where and they're nasty. They're really, really nasty, but it builds it's sink or swim. So they learn to protect themselves and give back, right? They fire back and they build resilience. Guys don't have that. That's why I reckon, when guys go through a divorce or a breakup, the guy, I reckon, experiences, deals with it.
Of struggles, struggles
He finds more difficult.
in terms of dealing with
the emotional
pain,
impact on a guy. Women have the ability to move on. They process, and I think women have processed it well. So when a woman's going through a difficult time, like say she breaks up, she finds out her husband's cheating or whatever, her friends will rally around and they'll go, he doesn't deserve you anyway. You're going to do so much better. And then they'll cry and cry. She'll cry for 2 or 3 days and then that's it. Then she'll emerge like a phoenix from the ashes. Geez, I'm revealing too much about myself. I've been through some things. But no, it's just observation with my daughters. I think so that resilience could lend itself to financial resilience because we digress. You're talking
I was going to say, you digress. So I agree with you. I do think that women or younger girls, because of the group dynamics that can be so brutal.
Well, that lends itself to the team building thing as well because there's always a group, right?
Yeah, but so
guys go solo.
Group dynamics.
You get the lone wolf syndrome. But woman, have you ever seen a woman who's a lone wolf?
Yes, there are some. So I was going to say the group dynamics when you're growing up are quite...
Actually, sorry, I'm the cat ladies. That would be sorry. I just had to blurt that out. I'm sorry. I'm going to put my filter back in.
Yeah, I was going to say the group dynamics are quite difficult to manage. So obviously, I think women become more resilient in terms of dealing with that as they grow older. But what I was trying to talk to you about was resilience towards financial issues, which I do think that women, because they have more of a long-term, broader perspective, potentially have in terms of financial issues, and then they're also more cautious, right? So they manage that potentially better. I'm not sure.
But I've seen the opposite as well. I've had wives in tears where they are shouldering all the financial pressure.
Yeah.
And they, it's a heavy burden to carry. And then the husband knows nothing. And then they don't want to tell him because he's trying to manage 7 sites, construction sites. And if she had to tell him, we 300K in the hole or whatever it is, that's going to impact him because nothing messes with your head like cash flow issues, right? Yeah. So the bottom line is, to fix it. But
let's move on. I want to talk about because we talk about a lot of husband and wife teams, etc. But
what about the single guys out there? There's guys that don't have, maybe or don't want to get their wife or partner involved. Yeah.
There's also examples of just obviously men leading companies, but bringing in some women also. So do you want to talk about one of your clients?
So besides a wife or a partner that, guys would bring in, what if a guy's single or he's like, I've had guys say to me actually recently, I want my wife out the business because she, because if you get imagine that happened with us now. Imagine we had a domestic.
Pretty close to it.
On the pod, I know. So I've interrupted you that many times. I can see you're about to go. Okay.
You're going to do your podcast by yourself.
So, but you can see how easy it could happen, right? Someone just unleashes.
I can see
imagine this was a live podcast and then you just unleashed on me. You know what I mean? On to a live audience. So anyway, this guy's wife did that in the office in front of their team. She dressed him down and he said to me, it was not cool and she needs to exit. She needs to exit
what
stage left.
That is years of frustration, a build-up of anger, frustration, feeling unheard. So I don't even know this woman or know the situation, but I can see how that could happen.
What's the phrase? Death by 1,000 cuts. I've heard that so many times. I'm like, it's not the thing you've just done now. Yeah. It's the 1,000 other things that you have done. Yeah, so
it's the last drop that falls in the vase. It makes it go overflow.
Man, I heard this story where this couple, husband and wife team, that were working together and shouldn't have been working together in the business, right? Obviously red flags and they ignored them. And they hired this yacht, a semi-super yacht thing for all their best clients. Mm-hmm. And they had the worst possible domestic on the yacht. Yeah. So now people can't leave, right? And she was like, you slept with that whore. And you know what I mean? And apparently their clients. Like that was it. Like
had to crash a business just
yeah,
like
yeah,
in
you know
just
what I
like
mean?
one
And she like
afternoon.
got drunk, and then just unleashed like 10 years or whatever it was of those 1,000 cuts and all the shit he had done in front of their elite clients. So so you got to be mindful of that. So anyway, we're going back to people that we're probably scaring the hell out of the guys. They're like, I'm not getting my wife involved at all. So if you're in that category and you're listening to this, there's hope, because there is a different alternative solution. So what's plan B, right? If it's like not getting my wife involved, office admin, lady, manager, stroke, business development.
We need to like sort this out, because this title of office admin lady is just, it's so bad.
It's a better term.
And I told you this before this podcast on top of it, okay, many times, okay. You just call it like, you can hire a general manager, you can hire like, if you want to call like just admin, that's fine. But like,
look, I can only speak from my experience.
Lady,
office admin lady, office admin person, doesn't have to be a lady. I can tell you now,
but this
like
is
when
more
guys
than
throw
just
that
an
ad out
office
there, office admin
person.
manager, it's in the 90 percentile. Like I've said, multiple clients do it right now. Use our recruitment process, which is very effective, by the way, at employing on attitude over skill. But it's generally women. Why? Well, for all the reasons you just communicated. Like they've got empathy, compassion, they can communicate well, they can multitask. And when you think about what happens in an office and the paper or paperless flow of information, women are really well suited to that. But there are some guys that do it too. I've got an example of a guy who does passive house, and he's got a German guy who's like, Germans are like, generally speaking, very meticulous. And he's great at managing the pre-construction process and checklists. But I want to share an example, Jess, if I could, of like this is a really good example, young guy. So obviously we are renowned for or known for the 7-figure clubs and helping builders net $1 million. The percentage of the clients that come to us now, that they come to us with that in mind. Set up their business so that it consistently nets $1 million a year after wages, including directors' wages, but before tax, and then they set up a development arm or just start building a property portfolio. So this young guy came to me, and very ambitious, fired up, great guy, great leadership skills, just natural leadership. He obviously had good schooling, good father, or mentors around him, and that can be taught, but some people have more of it just naturally. And he got an office admin lady to join his business, and she was amazing. So he got her involved not only in doing the office admin. He actually had a job description, but she started, and she took the initiative, right? She saw that he was working on the business, and he had a business development plan, and it was broken down, and she just ran with it. And he got into the 7-figure club at age 32. Nice. So young guy, and I can tell you now, 80-90% of it was her. She basically built his operations manual, right?
Yeah.
And just went above and beyond. So she was a unicorn. But a good example of, for the guys out there that are sweating bullets, even thinking about bringing their wives or partners into the business, it could be an office admin person or lady. But we're talking about women. This is about women. So, I think find the right woman. We just spoke about the McKinsey stats. So we're not going to employ an office admin guy if all the evidence and data points to women getting better profitability, Jess.
Yeah, correct.
Thank you very much.
The last point I wanted to make, and I can understand, because I've been also working in a male-dominated industry, which is not easy for women to step in. It's not easy to work in an industry where there's just a lot of
it must be tough.
Men, and that comes because of the culture, right? Culture can be is a big thing. But having said that, and I looked into, there's some stats, but...
Are you talking about culture in general, just the world that we live in?
No, I'm talking about work culture.
Culture, okay.
I think it's really important, and women have a lot to do about it. It's just the work culture needs to be open and adapted for women also to be able to feel happy.
But I think that's happened, right? Because feminism is a thing, and then equality in the workplace. there has been change. I know there's more change that needs to happen, but guys have opened up, and then to bring in women in, and some of them were forced to, but now we have the data that shows because of that, there's profitability. So even if a guy's like, oh, you know, am I going to want to take instructions from a woman? I'm not so sure. That could go, well, shit, if I want to make $1 million, why not? You know,
you say it's happened. Like, let's be. You can probably go talk to any woman right now who's working in the construction industry. They'd probably be like, "Oh, it's still a little bit difficult.
Oh,
it's not easy.
You
know, the culture around men is XYZ. Yeah. That doesn't make me feel included. Like, it's not because you bring in the word feminism that all of a sudden everything's cool. Huh? So what I'm saying is that work culture needs to include women too, and make them feel like, you know, happy and safe in the environment, and that's really important. But what I was going to say is that women as women leaders, okay, can create an environment that is really inclusive and collaborative and really welcoming for other women to also come in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. But women are toughening up, I believe. Like they're not... No, they don't just
women
sit around.
Have always been tough.
Women, but they're stepping up now. They've got more of a voice. And, I mean, have you seen some of those female UFC fighters as well? On a side note, beat the shit out of their husbands, I'm sure.
Okay. Bon, anyway, so to wrap up this episode, I think a few takeaways. Obviously, women in construction and women in leadership in general is really about more profit, and I think that's what we're trying to drive here. And it just makes sense, right? It's better for your business in general, and better for your relationship. I'm not sure. We've had some confusing conversations.
No, but I think look, if we're going to cut to the core, boil it down to its absolute core. It's a woman equals profit. Yeah, that sounds bad, but it's no, it is. It's bringing women in, and run a more successful business and happier team. The communication.
Happier team.
It's all of that, man. Like, I mean, I see it every day. I get excited when a husband and wife team start with us. I'm like, hey, yeah, you guys are going to crush it.
And for the women out there, it's all about, working on your strengths and stepping into your leadership. And obviously, we have our new program, it's not completely new, but relatively new program, which is Builder's Coach for Her, which is specifically business coaching for women in the construction industry, which I am leading. Very, very excited about it.
Yeah, we've had more inquiries for Builder's Coach for Her than we have from the men.
Yeah, I feel like you're a little bit nervous about that, no?
No, I'm excited. It's great. I love women. I've got 4 girls. Like I'm pro woman in construction. So keep sending those inquiries through. We'd love to help you.
Yeah, no, definitely. We'd love to help you. That's it from now. Thanks.
Thanks, Jess. Take care, guys.
Bye.